Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online session, biology session, nutrition in animals part 2. In the part 1 we have studied about the concept of nutrition and the different ways of taking the food, the feeding and digestion in microorganisms like amoeba, and based on the different types of habits, food habits, the animals are classified into different groups. That also we have discussed. What are they? Almost all animals are heterotrophic. They are categorized into herbivore, which eat plants, carnivores, which eat meat or flesh of other animals, omnivores that feed on plants and animals, parasites, saprophytes or saprotrophs, animals saprotrophs, then scavengers. These are the different types of different group of animals based on their food habit. And we also discussed about the nutrition in complex animals and the steps involved. In that first step, ingestion. What is ingestion? The intake of food is called ingestion. The animals follow different methods of ingestion, taking food, and varieties from one animal to other animal. It is different, and different feeding mechanisms also we have discussed, like filter feeding, deposit feeding, fluid feeding, bulk feeding, ram feeding. Okay, in today's class we are going to discuss more about the other types of feeding and the digestive system. Okay, are you ready children? Let us proceed. Other types of feeding in animals. For example, a hummingbird. A hummingbird sucks the nectar of the flowers of plants. And if you take human beings use their hands to put food into their mouth and swallow the food after chewing. Infants of humans and many other animals which feed upon their mother's milk by sucking. A snake, it swallows the animal, their prey upon without chewing them, they swallow the entire prey. And a frog captures the prey with its protrusible sticky tongue. So you see here a hummingbird. Its beak is also suitable for its food habit. Okay, it is long and slender beak. It inserts the beak into the flower and sucks the nectar. Okay, this type of feeding is observed in the hummingbird. And if you take a frog here, so it throws its tongue outside. So always remember these lizards and these frogs, they feed on a live prey or moving prey, small insects. Okay, they are insectivores. So frog, it throws its protrusible sticky tongue and catch the insect and swallow it. Okay, so it's called capturing the prey. So every animal has its own strategy to obtain the food. Okay, the feeding mechanism, it is called feeding mechanism. Okay. Next, an earthworm uses its muscular pharynx to swallow its food. You know very well these earthworms present inside the soil, make burrows into the soil, and cool and muddy or clayey soils, these earthworms are present. Usually we will see the earthworms during rains. At the time of raining they come out because inside the oxygen is not available. So these earthworms they use muscular pharynx to swallow its food. Okay. Spiders weave sticky web in which small insects get stuck. Okay, a trap is made. Okay, a sticky web like construction done by the spiders to catch the prey. Small insects like houseflies, mosquitoes, okay, and small insects will be trapped. Even butterflies also will be trapped by the large spiders. Some aquatic animals, they filter the tiny particles floating nearby and feed upon them. This is called filter feeding. Okay, aquatic animals means you can eels, some types of fishes, and even some birds like swan, ducks, filter feeding. Okay, floating aquatic organisms they feed upon. The amoeba is a unicellular animal. It engulfs the tiny particles of the food by using pseudopodia. Amoeba surrounds the food by pseudopodia, then it makes a food vacuole to engulf the food, and later it digests the food inside the food vacuole, and the undigested food is eliminated from the food vacuole. So you can see the spider web. It has trapped a butterfly here in this spider's web. Okay, so these animals, spider, it inject some enzymes into the prey to make it paralyze or to kill it. Then it will digest externally and absorb after digestion. Okay, scorpion also do the same. And here in amoeba, see the amoeba, it extends its pseudopodia and it surrounds the food particle and construct or develop a food vacuole around the food particle or prey, which consists of some digestive enzymes, and it digests that food particle inside the vacuole, food vacuole, intracellular digestion. Okay, a type of nutrition is called Holozoic nutrition. So we already discussed. Holozoic nutrition is the nutrition in which the organism consumes particulate food molecules. Okay, right. Next, in multicellular organisms like Hydra, there are numerous tentacles present around their mouth, and they trap the prey with the help of the tentacles and consume. The Hydra uses its tentacles to surround its prey and kill them with the help of its stinging cells. So cnidarians or coelenteroids, nidoblast cells or stinging cells are present in these animals. So they use those stinging cells to paralyze the prey or kill the prey and swallow the prey. Then the food is pushed into the gastrovascular cavity. Okay, the food is pushed into the body cavity after killing, and it digests the food. See here, Cyclops. Cyclops is a microarthropod insect, small insect. So this Hydra trap it with the help of tentacles, catch the prey, and then it swallows the The tentacles itself contain some stinging cells inside, with the help of which it kill the prey and then push into the body cavity. Okay, like this. The hypostome is similar to mouth. Okay, prey with the help of tentacles, catch the prey, then kill the prey, then push into the body cavity. Okay, so children, you can observe different animals in your surroundings, how they capture the food, how they feed, the feeding mechanism, and you put it on, you write it in a paper or in the notes and show to your subject teacher. Okay, so for example, a chameleon, lizard, wall lizards you can observe. Okay, you can observe a garden lizard, and nearby in the house cat and the pet animals, how they feed. Okay, you can observe the hen, okay, how it will feed. So like that, different birds and their food habits and their beak structure, which you already studied in your lower classes. So once again you observe the feeding mechanisms in those animals and find out the difference. Okay, according to the food habit, the organ used for feeding is also modified, an adaptation. It is an adaptation. Okay, so let us proceed to digestion in human beings, our digestive system. The food that we eat passes through a tube-like structure or canal inside our body that is called alimentary canal. The food is processed and utilized in the body, and unused food is collected inside the canal and later it is ejected or eliminated. Okay, this canal, it is often called as the alimentary canal or the digestive tract or gut, G-U-T, gut. Okay, this alimentary canal, it is composed of or made up of or divided into different parts and they perform different functions. Okay, the alimentary canal divides into different parts and it performs different functions. So let us see one by one. The alimentary canal starts with mouth and ends with anus. Okay, it is a starting point, mouth. Mouth function is to chew the food with the help of the teeth and the jaws, strong jaws we possess, which are fixed with different types of teeth, and with the help of those teeth we cut the food and we also chew the food. Next, followed by salivary glands. Inside the oral cavity or mouth itself, there are some digestive glands which are called salivary glands. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands are present in human beings. So these salivary glands secrete saliva. The main function of this saliva is it digests starch. The digestion of the food material start in the mouth itself. That's the reason why the elders and even the doctors also will suggest us to chew the food thoroughly. Okay, that is called mastication. Mastication means chewing the food thoroughly, enjoying the taste of food by chewing it thoroughly, so that it thoroughly mixes with the saliva and the process of digestion starts in the mouth. So which substrate is digested? Starch. The digestion of starch begins in the oral cavity or in the mouth. So the next part, esophagus. Esophagus or esophagus. It is also called food pipe. It is a long tube. There is no process of digestion in it. It is lined by mucous glands, and it helps in the carrying the food from mouth to stomach. Okay, so there is no special digestion takes place in this esophagus. The esophagus, the food moves. A wave like movement takes place in the esophagus, which is called peristalsis, which you study in higher class. Okay, so esophagus main function is it carries food to stomach. It acts like a bridge between the mouth and stomach. Next, liver. It is an important digestive gland, the largest gland present in our body. The main function of this liver is to produce bile juice, digestive juice, bile juice. The bile juice is the only juice which is lack of enzymes. There are no enzymes in the bile juice. Okay, but even though it helps in the process of digestion. In the mechanism of digestion we will see. The next, gall bladder. Gall bladder is attached to liver. The main function of gall bladder is to store the bile. It is a bag like structure or sac like structure which helps in the concentration of bile. Concentration of bile means the bile contains some water, so that excess water is absorbed in the gall bladder, and the bile juice gets concentrated and stored temporarily in the gall bladder. Next, stomach. Stomach is a bag like structure, muscular structure. The main function of the stomach is it helps in the physical and chemical change of the food material. The movement of the muscles help in the churning of food or mixing of the food thoroughly. The bile, stomach produce digestive juice called gastric juice. The digestive juice produced by the stomach is gastric juice. It contains some enzymes. The main enzyme present in the gastric juice is pepsin, and it also secretes hydrochloric acid, HCl. Okay, so this hydrochloric acid will provide the medium or pH for the action of pepsin, and also kills the foreign particles which enters along with the food material. Okay, it plays very important role. Next, pancreas. Pancreas is present below the stomach. It is a digestive gland, pale yellowish in color. It produces the digestive enzymes. It is one of the major gland which produce some important enzymes, help in the process of digestion. Okay, the pancreas produces the digestive juice. It is called pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice. Next, so you know very well the digestive system contains several ducts. Ducts means tubes, small tubes, through which they release those secretions of those digestive glands will be released into the target organs with the help of those ducts. Okay, salivary ducts. Through salivary ducts, saliva is released into the oral cavity. Okay, then pancreatic duct, and liver bile is also carried by a bile duct and opens into the duodenum. Okay, so these ducts are present. So next, small intestine. Small intestine is the name small intestine, but if you take the length, it is very large. Okay, length is very big compared to large intestine. Small intestine, lengthwise it is big in size, but whereas the diameter, if you consider, it is small. Okay, so this small intestine it produces the major enzymes for the process of digestion. So the intestinal juice, it is also called succus entericus. So simply you remember intestinal juice. It is produced, it is composed of several enzymes, and the major process of digestion takes place in the small intestine. Okay, so the small intestine divided into different parts. Okay, duodenum, jejunum and ileum. These are the three main parts of small intestine, where the maximum digestion or the total digestion, the climax of digestion takes place inside the small intestine. And not only that, even the small intestine helps in the absorption of digested food. Okay, next, large intestine. The large intestine, there is no process of digestion in the large intestine. Mainly reabsorption of water present in the digested food takes place, and the undigested food is whatever the undigested food in the small intestine, the digested food itself absorbed, and remaining whatever the undigested food is there which contain water, so that excess water from the undigested food is absorbed in the large intestine. Okay, that is the main function of large intestine. And this large intestine divide into few parts like cecum, colon, rectum, the three main parts. Okay, the next, rectum. So rectum, main function is it holds the undigested food until the elimination. Then the last part is anus, the opening through which the undigested food is eliminated. That process is called defecation. Okay, and appendix is also attached to this large intestine, the cecum region, and this appendix is a vestigial organ. It plays no role in the process of digestion. Okay, its function is actually in human beings, its function is not exactly known. Okay, so it is one of the vestigial organ. Okay, so let us proceed. The digestive system. The alimentary canal and the digestive glands together form a system in the human body which is responsible for digestion of food in the body. It is called digestive system. So this system, the digestion is not so simple. It is the mechanical and chemical breakdown of food into small organic fragments, and it is important to break down the macromolecules into smaller fragments that are of suitable size for the absorption across the membranes. Means in the beginning itself, what is digestion? The process of breaking down of the complex food substances into the simplest absorbable substances or molecules is called digestion, which involves the physical, that is mechanical and chemical changes. Okay, so the different parts, the process of digestion proceeds from mouth to the small intestine. The different parts undergo the different mechanisms by which the food finally gets digested. Okay, just now we have observed the human gut. Human gut, or it is also called alimentary canal. It starts with mouth. Okay, in the oral cavity, tongue is present, and the salivary glands. The next long tube, esophagus. Then the important gland, liver, and gall bladder, and the esophagus opens into stomach, where a small valve is present, that is called pyloric sphincter, so which allows a small quantity of food. Okay, Here actually the pyloric sphincter is present near the duodenum. Okay, so the stomach, then pancreas below the stomach. Towards the left side, this pancreas is present. Then small intestine. The first part of small intestine is the duodenum, where this pyloric sphincter is present, which allows only small quantity of food to enter into the duodenum. The duodenum opens into the next part, jejunum, and finally it opens into ileum. Ileum is the terminal part of the small intestine, where the absorption of digested food also takes place. The next, large intestine. This is the cecum. This is the appendix attached to the cecum. Then this is the colon, colon, C-O-L-O-N, and then rectum, which opens into the final part, anus. So this is the digestive system, or the alimentary canal. The human digestive system is divided into two parts: alimentary canal and accessory glands. Accessory glands include salivary glands, gastric glands, liver, pancreas, okay, and intestinal glands. Okay. Next, the process of digestion. The large complex molecules which are present in our food, they are proteins, polysaccharides, means complex carbohydrates, and lipids. So these must be reduced to simpler particles before they can be absorbed by the digestive epithelial cells. Our digestive system, that is internally the small intestine is lined by the villi, particularly they are lined by epithelial cells, which helps in absorption of the digested food materials. So as it is, the food which we eat may not be absorbed directly. It must be converted to simpler particles. So that process where the complex large molecules are converted into simpler particles, okay, it is called digestion. So the different organs play a specific role in the digestive process. The animal diet needs, our diet also include carbohydrates, protein and fats, and also include vitamins and some inorganic components like salts for the nutritional balance, or we can say balanced diet, okay, which you have studied in your lower classes. The diet which include all the nutrients which are required by our body in a sufficient or in proper proportion, it is called a balanced diet. Once again, you go through the digestive system here. See the digestive glands, salivary glands. There are three pairs of salivary glands are present: submaxillary, sublingual, parotid gland. These are the three pairs of salivary glands which secrete saliva into the oral cavity. Okay, this oral cavity or the cavity present inside the mouth, it is also called the buccal cavity, which opens into the pharynx. It is a common junction for both air, water and food. Then esophagus is the digestive part, the food pipe it is also called. This esophagus opens into the stomach. Okay, meanwhile this liver, gall bladder. Okay, so this liver secretes bile which enters into the gall bladder, and by means of duct that bile juice opens into the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. Next, jejunum is the second part of the small intestine, and ileum is the final part, most coiled part of the small intestine. The next, if you come to the large intestine is divided into transverse colon, ascending colon, cecum, and descending colon, rectum. Okay, so this large intestine opens into the rectum, rectum opens outside the anus. Okay, this is the digestive system, where the food undergo physical and the chemical changes. The digestion process of digestion begins in the oral cavity, mouth. Next, digestion in the stomach. Stomach churns the food thoroughly to mix the digestive juices secreted by the gastric glands situated in its walls. The hydrochloric acid, which is present in the gastric juice, activates a protein digesting enzyme called pepsin. Actually, that pepsin is produced in inactive form, that is called pepsinogen, so which is activated by the hydrochloric acid present in the gastric juice. So this hydrochloric acid function is to convert the inactive pepsinogen into pepsin. Once the enzyme pepsin is formed, it is the active form of pepsinogen, so it acts on proteins. The pepsin digests the proteins into peptones and proteases. The food undergo physical and chemical changes in the stomach. As I told you, the stomach is a bag-like structure which is made up of muscles. So the food is thoroughly mixed by the action of muscles in different angles present in the stomach. That's why the food is stored up to some 3 to 4 hours in the stomach. Okay, so this pepsin digests the proteins into peptones and proteases. These are not the end products of proteins. Partial digestion of proteins takes place in the stomach. Next, the food remains in the stomach for about 3 to 4 hours and changes into pulp-like, okay, becomes soft, pulp-like, thick paste called chyme. So this chyme is the product of digestion of food in the stomach. So it is slightly acidic in nature because of presence of that hydrochloric acid. The chyme then moves into the small intestine. Okay, I told you the junction where the stomach opens into the duodenum or the first part of small intestine, a sphincter, a valve is present, that is called pyloric sphincter. It allows slowly the partly digested food, that is chyme, into the duodenum or the first part of small intestine. Okay, so here the digestion takes place inside the stomach. The food becomes chyme. The chyme is slightly acidic in nature. It opens into duodenum here. Slowly the food enters from stomach into duodenum. Okay, children, so the remaining we will study in the next class. I hope you understood. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.